I'm not prepared. I've been drinking that cannabis champagne since about 11. So the paranoia of seeing you all right now is literally overbearing. But that's okay. For those of you that don't know me, my name's James Morgan. I'm an investor. I'm really fascinated about the conversation today. We're going to learn about the sports entertainment market, the growth in IP, and some of the innovation in crypto, NFTs, DAOs, and all this wonderful stuff. So, to get me off the mic quick, I'm going to ask the guys to introduce themselves and what company they're with, and then we'll open the narrative up with some of the themes that we're going to talk about. So, Nathan, over to you.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Nathan Pillai. I work for a company called Endeavour. We're a global sports and entertainment business, publicly listed on the New York Stock Exchange. We manage talent, so actors, directors, musicians, etc. We own and operate properties like the UFC. We have music festivals, food festivals, art, freeze, a shooting match. I personally oversee an investment in Cell GP, which is owned by Larry Ellison. It's the Formula One water, powered by nature, not by carbon. I'm very privileged to be here amongst these fine gentlemen. Thank you.
My name's Audie Attar. I'm with a company called Paradigm Sports Management. We founded the company, this is about 12 years ago now, and we are a multi-sport management.
Up the proper 12.
Up the proper 12. That's my business partner and a long-time client that we built the company together over the last decade, Conor McGregor, for those of you that may not know. We focus on high-growth sports, and we try to be best in class in management for those sports. MMA was that first high-growth sport. Now we're in soccer. And then we're getting into esports with a recent acquisition. We have a media and content business, and then a business venture platform where we incubate and launch brands and products up to proper 12 with our clients. And obviously, Conor is not only a partner, my partner, a partner in the firm, but obviously the catalyst for it all. Now we do that. Not only the Conor vision, but now we're starting to expand and build other properties and get into other businesses and ventures that are accretive to the platform. So, nice to meet everybody.
Wow.
Afternoon, everyone. I'm Kilay Reinfeld. Also work with Paradigm Sports. There's not a lot more to say to that than what Mr. Attar said to all of you guys. Very happy to be here and enjoying this moment with all of you guys.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming. And Alistair, thanks for having us on the boat. It's an amazing opportunity.
Yes, Alistair.
So I am the co-founder of a company called Empowerment IP. What we do, we provide debt and equity to sports, music, media and entertainment as an asset class. For my sins, I have historically worked at IMG, which is now Endeavour. I've been in marketing and management, so I've been an operator, a marketing and manager. I turned to finance in 2014, where I started a company called 23 Capital, which was backed by George Soros' family office and funded by Credit Suisse. We deployed just shy of $4 billion to the sector. A lot of monetizing of football transfers, music royalties, etc. And then what we've done recently, launched Empowerment with probably, arguably the world's biggest music and entertainment manager, a gentleman by the name of Guy Ossiri, which manages Madonna, U2, Red Hot Chili Peppers. He built the world's biggest management company, Maverick, which is part with Live Nation. We founded this company together to be able to help rights holders monetize their rights, whether it be to monetize it without selling or selling. So the whole purpose of what we're doing is we've made a lot of people a lot of money, big institutions, and now what we're doing in conjunction with Paradigm is actually launching a permanent capital platform to allow investors, whether it be family offices, institutions, high net worth individuals, etc., to be able to participate in this great asset class, which is uncorrelated. So yeah.
Thank you. And a little side story. About a decade ago, it's about me now, everyone. About a decade ago, this guy came to see me in my office in Mayfair. He had a PowerPoint presentation with an idea for 23 Capital, and just him. He wanted $500,000 to start. We said no. The next time I saw him, he had 2.5 billion under management. I'm very happy that we're here on Monaco on a super yacht, and we're still friends. So thanks for that. So look, I wanted to first of all, say a big thank you to Conor for giving us so much time and spending the time with us. We really appreciate it. Champ. Thanks, Champ. Bringing this Conor story together, maybe you can tell us about how IP is changing in terms of talent management. Talk to us about the Proper 12 journey. We were having a drink last night, many drinks, and a lot more than the night before. And we were speaking about how not everybody. We're getting the invoice tomorrow for that. Why don't you share with us, like, not everybody thought it was a good idea, and talk us through how the origination of the idea and then the execution of it, bringing it to market, and how well it's gone since then.
Well, first, it starts and ends with, my fortune being lucky for that young man and trusting in me and the crazy vision that he has in himself, the crazy vision that I have in him and in our business and where we could take things. It took two crazy motherfuckers to get together to create the reality that we've done to date. And it really started with thinking outside the box and daring to dream and daring to go for things that people said could never happen. Floyd Mayweather fight could never happen. Launching the whiskey, we actually turned down a sponsorship at the time, hundreds of thousands of dollars at the time, because we wanted to launch our own. His granddad inspired him. He wanted to be an owner. I wanted to be an owner. Why not disrupt an increasingly globalized economy and direct-to-consumer audience where we own the audience now, and he has over 50 million people he directly speaks to? Why can't we go and disrupt a category that was owned by one? Over 90% of that category was owned by one. So it was just really understanding the TAM, understanding the market opportunity, and understanding that we had to make sure we brought in operating expertise, strategic capital, supply chain route to market, and then execute. There's no better marketer than him, but one of the things I know he demands, not just of me, but of our entire team, is quality. So if we're gonna come out with something like a Proper 12, we had to make sure we align ourselves with experts that helped us conceive and bring to market something that's of substance, of strong substance. Because if you just market something and you have people that will buy it the first time, will they buy it a second time? Will they buy it a third time? They won't. So I think for us it was daring to dream, putting a plan together, putting a team together, and then executing. And we've done that in just 3 years. It's something that's amazing. We exited, but we're still a part of it and stakeholders in the business, and we're still running it for the next decade. So, up the Proper 12. Up the Proper 12. And there's many more to come. I think if you look at all of our ventures now, from our health and wellness brand Title Sport, from our fitness brand McGregor Fast, from now there's a Black Forge Inn pub, there's a Black Forge Inn Stout, and many more ventures that are rolling out. I mean, you're going to see something that is going to continue to be replicated by us. We're coming out with really quality products, quality brands that align organically with him, and that's the key. When you come out with something, it has to align organically. You can't force something. You can't be fake, right? So you have to really live it authentically, believe in it, and then obviously put out something of substance as well.
So obviously Conor's surrounded himself with super smart people. He's got clear entrepreneur instinct. But Steve, how are IP and rights around talent changing? There's been a huge kind of almost like predatory move from some of the big players in global capital markets to scoop up talent and IP. And how are you at Empowerment trying to kind of provide alternatives for some of these big stars in the world?
Yeah, like, absolutely right. Financial crisis, not financial crisis, sorry. The coronavirus obviously caused a big issue with income streams. So everyone was coming in and trying to, the big credit funds, the big private equity firms, the big asset managers saw an opportunity to come in and own things. There was no touring. Right, so artists, 50% of an artist's revenue stream is touring. So there's no touring happening. They needed money, and digitalization was pushing income streams up, especially through music, but also content and e-commerce. You can buy Conor McGregor and click at the Conor McGregor piece of apparel at the click of a button now. So those things all changed. So the opportunity with coronavirus and digitalization was a perfect storm for the big asset managers to come in and acquire. So what we're doing in Empowerment was especially with all the funds coming in to influx in the asset managers, they're not looking at things under $100 million anymore. So the opportunity for us is to be able to allow rights holders, whether curators or creators, you could be a Conor McGregor, you could be a Paradigm, you could be Barcelona Football Club, you could be Taylor Swift. Whoever has IP that's coming from revenue stream is where we help them monetize. So we do two things. We help them monetize it by either not selling, because our belief firmly, because where the world is right now and the opportunity in sports, music, media and entertainment, is those revenue streams, that value is going to double in the next 10 years. Absolutely, without a doubt, double. So people are selling their IP now, they're leaving a lot of money on the table. And celebrity brand, as is seen by Proper 12 and other things, is, as I said, you get the 50 million consumers. Actors now get jobs in part because of how big their social media is, because of how they can, it's a new way of marketing. So the opportunity for talent-led brands is enormous, like it's never been. So when you have all that together, you've got all the big predatory asset managers saying, oh, buy, but they're leaving so much money on the table. So what Empowerment's doing with our new permanent capital platform is literally offering debt and equity to these people to say, you don't have to sell, or you can sell, but you can buy us back at a certain time. We're literally allowing the power to go back to the creator. So you can get the money, but you don't have to sell your IP. And that's what we do.
Okay, I can tell you just, that's how Stephen and I met, is we were going to create a live scale event, and which obviously has IP tied to it, and we were actually going to deal with Empowerment and UBS O'Connor. And that then led to other things, like we wanted to bid on Chelsea. So then we got involved with each other on that deal as well, which we lost out on.
I think there's about 3 people in this
I
room.
think there's probably about a few of us here, right? But I think that's what then led us to start talking. Well, there's a lot more to be had, particularly in the sports and entertainment world, because IP is very valuable nowadays, and these businesses, particularly in the sports world, you saw that MMA and the UFC in particular was the first sport back during COVID. And what everybody thought was that content was going to be able to live forever, but it didn't. We all got bored after a while, and it became exciting to watch an empty arena that was a live sport back. That was actually quite interesting, because I never thought people would be so intrigued by watching an empty arena or an empty stadium for a live sport. But when that came back, people were jonesing, and they were so excited just to see that content come back to air and effectively allow us to take our minds off of what we were all dealing with at the same time.
Sorry, just talk about Chelsea for a second. It's a perfect example of actually sort of fan monetization. So our bid, obviously Todd Bowley from Eldred won the bid, and there was about 30 different bidders. Our bid was a £3.1 billion bid, of which 1.5 billion was underwritten by big asset managers. The other 1.6 was going to be underwritten by a crypto platform. And what we're going to do with that, and you know this very well, you both know this very well, so I'll hand over to you guys soon. What we're going to do there is monetize the global fan base of Chelsea to be owners of Chelsea. So own a majority, not a majority, a major minority interest in the club by basically doing a fan bond, all from a crypto underwritten model. So.
Thank you very much. Kilay, I know you've been doing a bit of work in this space on crypto and all this super stuff. Do you want to talk us through some of the things that you see going forward in that world?
So the whole world of IP has always been very controlled by the big institutional capital players. And there was a moment where Stephen and I were having this conversation and talking about how do you give the general population, or me, like how do I invest? How do I get to put $100 into an IP play? And to now, that's really never been possible. Blockchain in general allows for proof of ownership and chain of custody, and there's a whole slew of technology that really starts allowing for decentralized transactions, right? The banking industry, the real estate industry, all these spaces are slowly moving into blockchain technology behind them. And we felt that the whole IP space is really due for innovation in that area. So trying to have the discussion of how do we bring a piece of this fund, how do we allow the general person to play a role in that, is where the blockchain conversation really started to play. Aside from what many of you probably have heard, things like NFTs, and the mainstream media has taken on to these assets, which really all they are is an asset and proof of ownership of something. So think of it like a membership club or a fan club, or in the old days that was, you're just sort of part of this thing where you can't really show that you're part of it, right? Now you own an NFT, you own this asset, and you can actually prove that you're part of this. So again, I think with the whole IP area, it allows that interconnection, and creating something called a DAO will allow for that, right? Will allow for anybody to put a couple dollars in and still be able to play in a major IP deployment of capital.
I think that's the main difference too, just on one point. You know, like the Green Bay Packers, big NFL team, they're owned by the public. Oh, here. I know a guy here, Nate Raby from RX3 Ventures, and him and Aaron Rodgers launched that fund. He's all the way here from the U.S. as well. Aaron's very familiar with the Green Bay Packers, but the Packers are owned by the public as well. But you have to come in at a certain purchase price, right? You can't put a couple dollars like you could if it were a DAO, and that's the key. It's truly democratizing the ability to own part of any sports and entertainment IP in a new way. And I'd say the barrier to entry is much lower than it was in the past. So I just want to say that before I gave it to the expert, because I don't know what I'm talking about in that space.
So I'm going to explain. Oh, sorry, man. Nathan, what is a DAO?
What is a DAO? A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. It is a very fancy way of saying it's a club. And
Club.
not the club that we were at this morning.
You're still there. I'm still there.
I'm not going to share the antics of last night. For those, and for those who were a little rusty from last night, yes, this is an Irish accent. I know.
Last man standing, by the way. Last man standing.
So we were talking about DAOs. So what DAOs do is, as Audie rightfully said, is give, and this is what I'm so excited about blockchain as a technology, and what you just referred to is that everyone's talking about NFTs and the volatility of currency, but actually what this does is it enables talent, it enables IP owners to actually, for the first time, have a deeper, more meaningful connection with their consumers, and for consumers to participate in that. So 3 months ago, I engineered a deal for NEAR, which is a layer 1 protocol, to sponsor our SailGP League. And as part of that, we announced the creation of the world's first ever DAO to own and operate a professional sports team franchise. So SailGP is 10 teams, 10 national teams, and as of next year, we're going to have an 11th team that will be flying the flag under the UN flag, and that will be owned and operated by a DAO. Never happened before. The NFL, the NBA, the Premier League, they don't want consumers and fans to have access to this. So that is what the whole point of blockchain is to democratize access and give people a chance to participate in something that was traditionally out of reach. And that's, the beautiful thing about what Conor and Audie and Kilay have done is that talent very rarely takes risk. They want to get paid. They want to just do an endorsement. It's easier. A manager just wants to take the commission, and to build something from scratch takes time. That takes a lot of risk. It takes capital, and we're creating now with NEAR a venture fund to focus on the explosion of opportunity that's coming in blockchain and entertainment, and giving investors, be they retail, family offices, institutions, a chance to be able to access this deal flow, because a lot of our LPs are going to be talent who want to play in this space but want to spread their risk across multiple different verticals.
You got a resume?
That's probably a good segue, obviously.
I think there was a deal that already signed last night.
I'll let you know. And it's sort of similar to what you're doing with the SailGP, with what Empowerment's doing with the permanent capital platform. We've really got two parts to it. So we're sort of taking that methodology that we've talked about, what you guys have done, and we're not venture. We only look at transactions that have got the global IP, the globally recognised IP, and either debt or equity will do. So we're split the cap raise into two different versions. So you've got your standard sort of permanent capital or fund vehicle, with, as I said, family offices, high net worth individuals, whoever, institutions. On the other side, we're creating a DAO. But rather than owning a sports team, we're actually allowing crypto investors to put their crypto, they don't have to sell it, but put their crypto there as collateral, which we will then obviously use currency against that, so like a lending against a mortgage stuff. So having that, they'll be able to invest, so co-invest together. So crypto people can invest into like a US dollar denomination, or normal investment funds can do it, they'll co-invest together. Just giving people the opportunity to not just own a team or lend to a football club or a musician, but actually lend or own to thousands of them. And that's what we're doing.
Amazing. Look, guys, I want to allow you good people an opportunity to interact and ask questions as well. So if you want to ask a question now, there's time today. If you can just ask you to introduce yourself and where you're from, that'll be helpful. So if anybody's got any questions for the panelists here, please, let's have them now. Anybody? Don't be shy.
If your head's a spinning from all that terminology, you'll be at the bar serving proper 12. You can ask questions
I'll
then
be
as
drinking
well.
it with him.
Again.
Again.
No, that's it? Okay. Got a question here.
So everyone understood?
Thanks guys, really interesting. My name's Daniel Stander. I'm not working today. I'm a special advisor to the United Nations. Thank you very much for having me on board. I'm not even sure why I'm here.
That makes two of us.
Good. I'll see you at the bar. And I'd like to follow up on the conversation around the UN boat as well. I've just come from Davos, and I was surprised by how much discussion there was of metaverse. I can imagine that you guys might be excited about the opportunities there. I really want to ask, are you long on it or not? Or is it froth and it's going to disappear? And I had one more question, which is, and does it have any societal value? Like, if you're purpose-driven brands, and I'm not sure, frankly, with all due respect, whether you're purpose-driven brands, right? It sounds to me like you've got some IP, you're going to make money out of it. That's all good, you don't have to heal the world if you don't want to. I mean, I'm interested in that, but maybe you're not. So, do you think the metaverse has any societal value? Because I'm struggling to see it.
I'll answer quickly and then pass it. So, I think, first and foremost,
I'm not working today, and it's not an official question. I'm not here as a fan.
This is off the record.
Yeah, we're recording, sorry.
in terms of societal benefit, what I would say is you're never going to replace what's going on in this room tonight, what's going on this wonderful yacht in the last 24 hours.
There's a lot of people in society that are not benefiting from what's going on in this yacht, but I hear what you're saying.
Hey, listen, you think that we're going to change the world right here. Okay, so I don't think you're going to replace that, but you cannot deny the power of the metaverse for the next generation of consumers and where they live. So they're living in Roblox, they're living in Fortnite, they are accustomed to a whole way of an economy that we can't necessarily wrap our heads around, and that is opportunity. It'll never replace this, but it'll have its place.
I think today's metaverse is a whole bunch of shitty games that look like they're from 1980. But I would also ask you the question, did you think Prodigy or AOL at the time had societal value? A lot of people would have said absolutely not. It's just a chat room with a bunch of random people talking that can't see each other. I think the metaverse is just an evolution of a society that wants to connect. COVID created a world where we couldn't, and it is a world where anyone can connect however and with whoever they choose to and want. I also think AR and VR is going to start playing a bigger role in that, and it's not just games, it's I want to have a business meeting with my business partner in Dubai and someone in Italy. It's better if we can feel like we're in a room like this, right? And I think the metaverse is just going to evolve a lot from what you see today.
So my comment would be, why do 50 million people follow Conor? I think the answer is because they have so few wins in their own life. And I think what this technology has the power to do is to bring people from this world where they're struggling, maybe into another form of reality, which might be better for them. One of the highest grossing films of all time, Attar, was about a man who went into another world where he could be somebody in this world he couldn't. So I hear everything you say, but there's two sides to every story. And like all technology, it can be used for great or for not so great. So I think it's in the hands of these great people who are kind of custodians of the future. Entertainment is a big magnet for people. So we have a lot of responsibility in these guys that are shaping the world going forward to make sure it becomes a place where everybody can be the best version of themselves.
Great answer. That's a great answer.
I can't beat that. I can't beat that. So look, the very short answer is, does it have societal value? And that's very subjective. I think it's just the next stage of digitalization. Consumers, kids who are all playing games, I do think it's, as Kilay said, I think it is where the world's going with the generations that are coming through. So I think the metaverse is there, it's going to last. I think when you start talking about NFTs, you know, and all that type of stuff, most people have heard of NFTs because of CryptoPunk and arts and all this type of stuff. I don't think the concept of NFTs, as in the art stuff, will stay around. I think that's a bit frothy. But I think the hype and the utility element of NFTs, absolutely, is going to be there. So longer answer than I expected, but I think the metaverse ultimately is quite nascent now, but this is just a continuation of the gaming world that went into the alternate reality.
Yeah.
All good answers. I think you mentioned Roblox. I have two little girls, 10 and 7 in a couple weeks, and it's about, you know, how they're growing up. They're constantly on their iPad playing Roblox when we let them, because we have no iPad policy during the week. So it's also how you use the technology. It's used for good or bad. I mean, you know, and so it is subjective to an extent. But I do think that, you know, balancing that, making sure you get your kids out, it's also good parenting, for me at least. This is how I look at it. But I also see them trading on Roblox, see them understanding the metaverse and digital currency and even business to some extent through that experience. And that is a good teaching lesson that we could use and harness for good. In terms of our brands, Proper 12, for example, we donate, every case sold, we donate to first responders. So we try to tie a level of corporate social responsibility, something that's near and dear, particularly for Conor's heart in the brands that we've launched. And it's important to all of us. I think if you talk to everybody on this panel, I was born in Baghdad, he was born in Venezuela, he's an Indian, Sri Lankan, my bad, raised in Ireland. Look at that, Sri Lankan, raised in Ireland, right? Two of my Brits, Aussie Brit and a Brit. So I think we're part of the United Nations right here. So I think everybody here has a unique background, and I can tell you, just sharing a lot of drinks together and getting to know one another the last couple of days, nobody had it easy. Everybody has come from humble beginnings and really worked our way to get to where we are. So it's important for all of us to continue to give back and to continue to use our platform and our businesses to make an impact, not only in our communities or with our families, but for the world as well. So I appreciate the question, and I will definitely accept the challenge.
Daniel, you can play me and finish 4 for ending up on the boat.
So guys, I'm respectful of the panelists' time, so I think we'll break up, let you guys get some drinks and use some Proper 12. And we'll enjoy the rest of the evenings together. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.